Welcome to Florence. We're about to step inside the Basilica of Santa Maria Novella. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another gorgeous church in a city that's packed with them. But trust me, this place is different. It's so much more than that. This building doesn't just hold priceless art, it tells the actual story of how the Renaissance began. So, let's dive right in.
So, let me just start by asking you this. What if you could find one single place where you could literally witness the shift from the medieval world to the modern one? Well, Santa Maria Novella is that place. It's like a time capsule of an artistic revolution, and we're about to pry it open.
Just take a look at this timeline. This was not a weekend project. We're talking about construction that went on for almost 200 years. It kicked off way back in the Gothic era and was only finished when the Renaissance was in full swing. And that long building period is the whole key, you know? It means the church itself is a bridge between two completely different worlds.
Okay, so like any good tour, we're starting right out front with this magnificent facade. And yeah, at first glance, it's just beautiful. But what makes it truly mind-blowing is that you're not just looking at one style, you're looking at a brilliant, seamless marriage of two. Here's the deal. See the lower part with those pointy arches and the green and white marble? That's pure Florentine Gothic, totally medieval. But then, more than 100 years later, this absolute genius of an architect, Leon Battista Alberti, shows up to design the top half, and his challenge was huge. How do you put a modern, classical, Renaissance top on an old Gothic base and not have it look like a total train wreck? Well, he didn't just succeed, he created a masterpiece.
So how'd he pull it off? Well, Alberti brought in all these classical ideas. That big triangle at the top, the columns with their fancy capitals, and even a banner with the name of the guy paying for it all, Giovanni Ruscellai. But his real stroke of genius? You see those big, curvy, S-shaped things on the sides? Those are called scrolls. That was his brand new invention, and it was the perfect, most elegant way to solve the problem of connecting the wide bottom to the narrower top. This one idea ended up influencing church designs for centuries.
All right, let's go inside. And I mean it, prepare to be amazed. The very first thing that hits you is just the scale of it all. The main hall, the nave, feels impossibly long, like it goes on forever. But part of that feeling is actually a really clever trick.
This is a classic optical illusion, a trompe l'oeil, which is just French for trick the eye. As you look down toward the altar, those huge pillars on either side, they're actually getting secretly closer and closer together. Your brain doesn't consciously notice it, but it creates this incredible, exaggerated feeling of depth and grandeur. It just pulls you forward into the space.
Now, as we're walking down this incredible nave, we come face to face with two paintings that didn't just decorate the church, they changed art forever. We're talking about Giotto's Crucifix and Masaccio's Holy Trinity. These are two moments where art took a quantum leap forward.
So before we can really appreciate what Giotto did, we have to know this term, Christus patiens, which means the suffering Christ. See, for centuries, that's not how artists showed Jesus on the cross. Giotto is about to introduce a kind of emotional realism that was, for its time, completely and utterly shocking. And this just shows you the difference perfectly. On the left, you've got the old style, the Christus triumphans, the triumphant Christ. His eyes are open, he looks divine, almost like he's floating, untouched by death. And then you have Giotto's version. It's a man. His eyes are closed, his body is heavy, it looks real. He's not just a symbol of power anymore, he's a human being, and he's inviting you to feel what he feels.
And look at how he does it. The body slumps down with this believable weight. You can see the blood trickling from the wounds. His legs are bent in pain, and, this is a big one, his feet are crossed and pinned with a single nail. It's such a simple thing, but it creates three-dimensional space. This was totally radical. It was a huge step towards the human-centered art of the Renaissance.
Just a little further down the nave, we find our second revolution. This is Masaccio's Holy Trinity, and this painting speaks to you directly. At the very bottom, there's a skeleton in a tomb, and it has this inscription that says, "I was once what you are, and what I am, you will become." Chilling, right? It's this powerful reminder of our own mortality that sets the stage for the holy scene above it.
So how did Masaccio create this incredible realism? He used a brand new technique called prospectiva lineare, or linear perspective.
It was basically a mathematical system for creating a perfect illusion of 3D space on a completely flat surface. People think he actually got help from the great architect Brunelleschi himself. This wasn't just painting anymore. This was a combination of science and art.
Let's just walk through the layers here. At the bottom, you had the skeleton, which is in our world. Then just above that, you see the patrons, the people who paid for the painting, kneeling on a ledge. And then your eye crosses over a threshold into what looks like a real chapel that's been carved deep into the wall. The illusion is so perfect, you feel like you could reach out and touch it. This right here, this is the birth of Renaissance painting. So all this amazing, revolutionary art, who paid for it? Well, you can't really talk about the Renaissance without talking about patronage. These side chapels all around us are basically monuments to the super wealthy Florentine families who used art to show off their piety, their power, and of course to make sure their family name would live on forever.
And the granddaddy of them all is the Tornabuoni Chapel, right up behind the main altar. The frescoes in there by Domenico Ghirlandaio are just breathtaking. They're full of portraits of the Tornabuoni family and all the other important people in Florence at the time. And here's a little piece of trivia for you. A young apprentice named Michelangelo was actually working in Ghirlandaio's workshop while these were being painted.
So as we wrap things up, it's pretty clear that Santa Maria Novella is way more than just a building. It's a fundamental chapter in the story of Western art. It's a place where the modern world really started to take shape.
So, what are the key things to take away from our visit? Well, remember that incredible facade, that perfect blend of two different eras. Remember Giotto, the artist who taught paintings how to feel human pain. Remember Masaccio, who used math to turn a flat wall into a window on a whole new reality. And of course, remember that all of this was fueled by the ambition and the deep pockets of the great families of Florence.
Finally, I'll just leave you with this one question to chew on. After everything you've seen here, which one work of art really changed the way you see things? Was it Giotto's incredibly human Christ that moved you? Or was it the perfect, mind-bending mathematical illusion of Masaccio's Trinity that blew you away? Because really, thinking about that is getting right to the heart of what the Renaissance was all about.